And with that, speaking one of our great partners, it's critical that we have great state leadership. And one of our vital state level partners is, of course, the Rhode Island General Assembly. And now I invite Senator Mike McCaffrey, the Majority Leader, to say a few words.
It's certainly an honor and a pleasure to be here this afternoon. And I'd like to recognize my colleagues in government for the hard work that they've done over the years. But if we look back in our country, in the 30s, our country was in the midst of the Great Depression, and President Roosevelt presented the New Deal to the nation. FDR's Commerce Secretary, Harry Hopkins, the architect behind the New Deal Public Works project, understood the value of investing massive public resources in bridges and roads. The massive government investment put people to work building roads that would serve our country for generations to come. Now, not only the people back got to work in quality jobs, it opened up our country to the world. Today, our economy again is reeling, this time due to the pandemic. We have a different Commerce Secretary who we all know and can attest to her commitment to the investment in our infrastructure. Secretary Hopkins back then said, "The new frontier is an idle man, money and machines, and all the resourcefulness of ingenuity and courage that resides in the 12 to 13 million unemployed Americans is helpless to take up this new frontier without tremendous organization of a productive forces only that our government can supply when business is in the doldrums." This commitment is shared by every member of the General Assembly and our congressional delegation and Governor McKee, as well as Director Alviti. And we are again committed for the same reasons to put people to work and jobs while making an investment to improve our economy and the quality of life for Americans in generations to come. Since the implementation of roadworks, Rhode Island has been working in all corners of the state to repair our infrastructure. And I want to thank our congressional delegation for securing the much-needed federal resources that make these projects possible, as well as Governor McKee and Director Alviti for investing this money and moving so swiftly to improve Rhode Island's infrastructure. I look forward to another historic construction season, and at this point in time, I'd like to welcome my colleague in government, Representative Edwards. John?
Morning, it's a great day. I'd first like to thank Governor McKee and our entire federal delegation and my colleagues in the General Assembly for their continued support of Rhode Island's infrastructure and the good paying union jobs that these projects generate. Not only do we all end up with safe, drivable roads and bridges, but we also have construction jobs in Rhode Island that allows our workers to make a real living and pump much needed dollars back into our economy. Projects like these are the showcase of our infrastructure work, but there are numerous projects throughout the state, smaller in scale and less visible out to our outside urban core, throughout Rhode Island's 39 cities and towns, that are equally important, especially to the communities in which they are being done. Now that the warmer weather is finally here, our roadwork projects are starting in earnest. Let us hope for a safe and productive season for the men and women performing the work and the thousands of Rhode Islanders who will eventually be driving on these completed projects. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Mayor, Mayor Elorza.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here in our capital city. And I want to add my voice to the chorus to everybody who has played a key role in bringing us here today and helping us kickstart this construction season in such a good way. Thank you, Governor, and thank you also to our new Lieutenant Governor. My first time referring to you as Lieutenant Governor Matto, so great to have you here. Our entire congressional delegation, Senator Reid, Senator Whitehouse, Congressman Langevin, and Congressman Cicilline, our partners in the State House, Leader McCaffrey and Representative Edwards. We're also joined by ex-Mayor Murray, great to have you here, Council President Igliozzi, great to have you here as well. And of course, we're all here rallying behind the work that Director Alviti has been doing and will continue to do in this year. I want to be very brief and just say that it's been a very difficult year for all of us. But it's great to have spring in the air and hope on the horizon. And there are a lot of things that we should take solace in and should be very thankful and optimistic for. The first is we can't take it for granted that we have our entire congressional delegation, our governor and local leaders all working together. That's the way the government is supposed to work, and we have an incredible opportunity to be an example for the rest of the country and how we work together at the federal, state, and local level. Second, we also have once in a generation, perhaps once in a lifetime, kind of opportunities to invest in the infrastructure of the future. Through the American Rescue Plan and the American Jobs Plan, we have the opportunity to not just envision what the post-COVID world looks like, but to make it a reality. And so that's something that I'm certainly committed to working with all of our partners in government to help make real and to help bring to our cities, states, and our entire country. And then finally, I'm very optimistic by the fact that in spite of much of the social unrest and calls for greater equity and changes around our social structure, the fact that equity has entered our everyday lexicon and our entire American Jobs Plan program, the American Rescue Plan, is being driven with equity in mind. Let's put ahead the communities that have been historically left behind, and let's take a more expansive view and definition of what infrastructure is. Here in Providence, we are also investing in infrastructure, and I'm proud to say that we, I believe today, are closing on a nearly $25 million affordable housing bond to directly invest in affordable housing here in our city. That is infrastructure. But we're also looking at infrastructure in a number of different ways, and the social and support infrastructure that our families and that our kids need in order to thrive in this world. So there's a lot to be optimistic for. I'm very happy and proud to be here with all of my colleagues in government, and I look forward to a lot of great work ahead.